Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Genesis, the 44th chapter. And he commanded the steward of his house, saying, "Fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth. And put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, and his corn money." And they did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. And this was secret orders he gave them, that is, right? As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their asses. And when they were gone out of the city, and not yet far off, Joseph said unto his steward, "Up, follow after the men. And when thou dost overtake them, say unto them, Wherefore have ye rewarded evil for good? Is not this it? Is not this it in which my Lord drinketh, i.e., the cup, and whereby indeed he divineth? Ye have done evil in so doing." So remember, Joseph was the Lord had blessed him, right, to be able to interpret dreams and so on. And to the Egyptians, they considered that to be like divining, right, to tell the future. And so um, he used that as a excuse to get him in this position here. So he's saying, "Put my cup there, and then overtake them, find the cup on," because he planted it, right, and then accuse them of taking my important instrument that I use to divine, by which I govern Egypt. And he overtook them, and he spake unto them these same words. And they said unto him, "Wherefore saith my Lord these words? God forbid that thy servants should do according to this thing. Behold, the money which we found in our sacks' mouths, we brought again out unto thee out of the land of Canaan. How then should we steal out of the Lord's house, out of thy Lord's house, silver or gold?" So basically, they're saying, look, even when we found the money, right, the extra money that was in our sack, we came all the way back from the land of Canaan to bring it back to you. How are we gonna, why would we do that and then turn around and steal silver or gold from your Lord's house? But remember, they had actually been in Joseph's house, right? And so it was more realistic for him to be able to plant this kind of this cup and basically try to use it against them here. "With whomsoever thy servants it be found, both let him die, and we also will be my Lord's bondmen." So they were sure, like, no, none of us took anything, which none of them did, but they were still planted nonetheless. And so the steward replies, "Now also let it be according to thy words. He with whom it is found shall be my servant, and ye shall be blameless." So he said, "Okay, I hear what you're saying, but tell you what, I'll do you one better. Whoever I find this cup with, that person is is gonna stay behind and be my servant, but the rest of you are good, you're free to go." Then they speedily took down every man his sack to the ground, which is like their bag, and opened every man his sack. And he searched, and began at the eldest, and left at the youngest. So they searched everybody from Reuben all the way down until Benjamin. And the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. And then they rent their clothes and laded every man his ass and returned to the city. So at this point, they're like, "Oh shit, like, yeah, we ain't no way there's no way we can go back to the land of Canaan without Benjamin." So they all eventually returned back to Egypt. And Judah and his brethren came to Joseph's house, for he was yet there, and they fell before him on the ground. Now, we don't know if Joseph actually intended to really just set this up so that he could purposely keep Benjamin with him, and then as for the rest of his brothers, they would be free to go, or if he intended to ultimately have them all you know, uh, well, as we read the story, we'll find out. But we know that it's the Lord doing this all anyway, right? But in any case, they all come back, and as it says, they fell before him, and Joseph said unto them, "What deed is this that ye have done?" Remember, he's still speaking to them, and anytime he's speaking to them, it's through an interpreter. All right, it's worded as such, but he's not speaking directly to them. There's somebody interpreting. "What ye not that such a man as I can certainly divine?" So, didn't you know that I have the ability to divine? Did you think you could actually steal from me? And Judah said, "What shall we say unto my Lord? What shall we speak? Or how shall we clear ourselves? God hath found out the iniquity of thy servants. Behold, we are my Lord's servants, both we and he also with whom the cup is found." So Judah said, you know what? And you see here, Judah, right, is of all his brethren, he's like the main speaker, right? Like if you did a comparison with the Maccabees, he would be like the Judas Maccabees, as in where when he's in terms of speaking to Jacob, in terms of speaking to the Egyptians, right? It was mainly Judah speaking forth, and that was because I forgot what chapter it's in, but it mentions that Judah is basically became the head tribe, even though obviously he wasn't the firstborn, and the inheritance went to Joseph. Let me see if I can actually find that. It might actually be in First Chronicles. Not here. Not here. Nope. Here we go. Yeah. First Chronicles 5:2. For Judah prevailed above his brethren, and of him came the chief ruler, but the birthright was Joseph. So the even though Reuben was the firstborn, because of his iniquity, that birthright was given here, as it says, to Joseph, right? So Joseph had like the right as though he was the firstborn, but Judah prevailed. So he was like the head tribe um in here, which kind of makes sense, as you can see you can sort of see that in these chapters as we're reading. Anyway, back to the story. So verse 16, Judah basically, he says, look, at this point, there's nothing more we can really say. So as he says, both we and he with whom the cup is found, so both us and Benjamin are going to be your servants. And he said, God forbid that I should do so. But the man in whose hand the cup is found, he shall be my servant. And as for you, get you up in peace unto your father. See, so it starts to look like Joseph really just wanted Benjamin, because that was his once again, his brother from the same mother and father. And then the rest of his brethren, as long as he knew that they were okay, that was good enough for him. Then Judah came near unto him and said, "O my Lord, let thy servant," so Judah stepped up and continued to plead, "Let thy servant, I pray thee, speak a word in my Lord's ears, and let not thine anger burn against thy servant, for thou art even as Pharaoh." So you're pretty much in the stead of Pharaoh, like you have as much authority. So please don't get angry, but just hear me out. My Lord asked his servants, saying, Have ye a father or a brother? And we said unto my Lord, We have a father, an old man, and a child of his old age, a little one, being Benjamin. And his brother is dead, Joseph, and he alone is left of his mother, and his father loveth him. And thou saidst unto thy servants, Bring him down unto me, that I may set mine eyes upon him. And we said unto my Lord, The lad cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die. And thou saidst unto thy servants, Except your youngest brother come down with you, ye shall see my face no more. And it came to pass, when we came up unto thy servant my father, we told him the words of my Lord. And our father said, Go again and buy us a little food. And we said, We cannot go down, if our youngest brother we cannot go down. If our youngest brother be with us, then we will go down. for we may not see the man's face, except our youngest brother be with us. And thy servant my father said unto us, Ye know that my wife bare me 2 sons. Speaking of Rachel, the one wenteth out from me. And I said, Surely he is torn in pieces, and I saw him not since. And if ye take this also from me, and mischief befall him, ye shall bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave. And therefore, when I come to thy servant my father, and the lad be not with us, seeing that his life is bound up in the lad's life, so his heart or his life is tied with that of Benjamin's, i.e., it's a saying to say that if something happens to Benjamin, or if Benjamin doesn't come back, Jacob ain't gonna make it. It shall come to pass that when he seeth that the lad, which is the boy, Benjamin, is not with us, that he will die. And thy servant shall bring down the gray hairs of thy servant our father with sorrow to the grave. So it'll be too much for Jacob to handle in his old age, and that sorrow would eventually kill him. For thy servant became surety. And meanwhile, this is all Judah speaking, right? Basically telling the full story to Joseph. For thy servant became surety for the lad unto my father, saying, If I bring him not unto thee, then I shall bear the blame to my father forever. Now therefore I pray thee, let thy servant abide instead of the lad a bondman to my lord. So if anything, just let me take Benjamin instead, and I'll be your slave or your servant. And let the lad go up with his brethren. For how shall I go up to my father, and the lad be not with me? Lest peradventure I see the evil that shall come upon my father. So Judah is pleading his case here before Joseph. He's telling him the full story, and he's explaining why it is that it's so important that Benjamin goes back with him, because if they just go back and Benjamin is not there, it would be better if Judah was lacking than Benjamin. But if they all went back, to see Jacob's reaction and eventually what that would do to his health would be too much for them. And that brings us to the end of the book of Genesis, the 44th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kudash. Until next time, Shalom.